Alright guys, I thought I was a hardcore Star Wars fan. I distinctly remember both of C-3PO's legs being gold.
I do not remember a silver leg. I've never seen that in my life.
We all know that C-3PO never had a silver leg.
I noticed that now C-3PO's right leg is silver.
In the other reality, it was the whole foot, the leg, all this. And now it's just this little section right here.
C-3PO doesn't have a silver leg.
Look at the legs. Both golden.
When did that change, and how did the color in the original film change?
C-3PO here with both golden legs.
Are dimensions colliding? Are all the memories of millions of people wrong? I just want to know the truth.
What color are C-3PO's legs? I'm sure your gut reaction is the obvious one. Gold. But what if I told you that was only half true? What if I told you the iconic golden android that we all know and love has bore a second shiny metallic color right under our noses all along? The mystery of C-3PO's right shin has brought two unexpected crowds together: Star Wars fans and conspiracy theorists, two groups that I happen to frequent occasionally. The Star Wars fan group needs no explanation, but the conspiracy in question definitely requires some context. Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few years, you've probably heard of the phenomenon called the Mandela Effect. Most people know of the Mandela Effect examples like the Berenstain Bear's name, the non-existent monocle on the Monopoly guy, or the movie Shazam starring Sinbad actually being the movie Kazam starring Shaquille O'Neal. If these are confusing, allow me to explain. The Mandela Effect is the name of the cultural phenomenon in which a large group of people remember a detail about a thing or an event differently than what it actually is. The reason it was given the name Mandela Effect is because of the person who coined the title after she found that her and a number of others falsely remembered human rights activist and South African President Nelson Mandela dying in prison sometime in the 1980s, even going as far as to say they remembered watching news broadcasts and televised video of his funeral. Needless to say, these false memories are just that, false memories. For whatever reason, certain details about things fall in place in such a way that they are misconstrued. Like the examples I just listed, there are things from many people's childhoods that they may never have paid much attention to. Berenstain sounds more normal and common than Berenstain, and you'd expect the Monopoly guy to have a monocle. He just seems like that type of person. But most people aren't creating photographic memories of a board game mascot. The effect itself is a real phenomenon. We can see it happen through observation. But the disagreeable part arises when the conspiracy does. Thanks to the advent of the internet, a surprisingly large number of people are a part of a sort of truther group revolving around the Mandela Effect. There exist whole communities of people who observe, document, and discuss instances of the effect, but not just for social commentary. In order to explain the Mandela Effect, they turn to a number of beliefs that defy all logic. Some believe that the apparent changes in history are due to some kind of alternate reality transfer in which multiple different parallel universes are colliding, universes in which every detail about the world is the exact same, save the fact that the Berenstain Bears are actually called the Berenstain Bears. Sounds ridiculous, unfounded even, but that is the more tame side of the aisle. The true weirdness comes from the idea that there are actually people behind this phenomenon, that the elites have some kind of control over reality itself, and are able to systematically alter every single aspect of anything in history. They apparently do this for fun, or to test the herd, for some kind of ultimate goal of domination. Like most conspiracies that cover such a broad matter, there are subsections within the community, some connected to a specific religious belief, such as the Bible, some take a more secular approach, and many connected to some kind of overall spiritual idea.
Because I don't need any more proof. There is so many changes out there. I don't need to be convinced anymore. Basically, this stuff is for new people that are still struggling. Is the Mandela Effect real or not? Is this really happening? And something like this can help sway them over, get rid of their logical mind in all this, and have them move over to their right brain a little.
The whole thing reeks of the occult when you really dive deep into it. There are entire channels that focus on these things, and it certainly breeds a lot of paranoia and superstition. The conspiracy seems to commonly overlap with lots of other superstitious beliefs. These people will literally claim that things have changed more than once and in ways that only they and a small number of others actually notice.
I think it helps to have these documented things, and also because there's so much flip-flopping going on that I might make this video and next week in the video it's changed. Like people have literally watched stuff change as they email each other. So somehow our perception's getting hacked.
The people are fascinating to listen to. It's kind of sad when you watch these videos. They truly believe that reality is just shifting all around them. I'm no doctor, but that's definitely not a good sign. Forgive me if I misrepresent the views of this community, as it really is a whole subculture of people. So what is the deal with this? Why does almost everyone not remember C-3PO's silver leg? To me, the answer is obvious. Let's go back to the beginning. Most shots of C-3PO are from the waist up, meaning the only thing the camera is seeing a lot of the time is the part of him that is all gold. When his legs are shown, especially in A New Hope, the surroundings cause the color of his leg to be hard to notice. Like on Tatooine, walking around in the tan, nearly orange sand, the silver reflects the color of the environment and looks gold. Not to mention the fact that with an entirely reflective body, and the chrome silver being not that different of a color from chrome gold, it is often hard to even notice it is not gold. It is on his shin, reflective like every other part of his body and hardly ever fully viewable on screen. C-3PO, for all intents and purposes, is a chrome gold robot. One plate of silver, unless it was on his face or chest, is not something that is easily noticeable. I don't even remember when it was pointed out to me that he had a silver leg, because it isn't a remarkable detail. I think arguing for the simple and understandable false memory explanation solely from the films is easy. However, the films are hardly where the conspiracy's resources end. Nowhere in the films will you ever find C-3PO with 2 gold legs, but you actually can find many instances outside of the movies where he does. Most, if not all, toys from the era in which the films were released, the Kenner toys and so on, portray C-3PO with 2 gold legs. I even own one. There are also graphics, paintings, and promotional art that lack the silver leg. These more obscure happenings are referred to as residue or residual evidence. Residue, of course, means small amounts of something left over. The idea is that through whatever process that reality was altered, whether through dimensions colliding or purposeful manipulation, some things in this reality were left untouched, leaving residue behind. Finding a toy or photo of C-3PO with 2 gold legs is supposedly a piece of evidence from the previous world that was somehow skipped over in the change. I think there is a much simpler explanation to all of these occurrences. Let's start with the promotional art. The very rare instances in which you will find official Lucasfilm artwork where C-3PO has 2 gold legs are probably due to a simple lack of attention to detail. Many of these promotional art pieces, while very nice on their own, are not exactly Mona Lisas. They are simple drawings and paintings of the character that the artist made thinking, like most people, that the character was a full chrome gold robot. Especially back in the 70s and 80s when film quality was far lower and attention to continuity wasn't always the priority. I mean, just look at the posters to the movies themselves. They're not always exactly 100% accurate. Are these differences in style because of some kind of weird phenomenon, or because the artist was taking liberty with their work and didn't notice a very minor detail in what is already a small part of the poster itself anyway? The same train of thought goes for the toys in my opinion, especially on the toys that were painted with actual chrome gold paint. It is simply much easier to use the one set of paint on the whole toy rather than another on a single part of it, whether or not the manufacturers even knew better regarding the silver leg, which they almost certainly didn't. I don't understand why it is surprising that a cheap toy from the 70s didn't pay close attention to detail. There is actually one thing that I have trouble wrapping my head around. On the back of an original trilogy box set from the early 2000s, there is a picture of C-3PO and R2-D2. In this picture, C-3PO clearly has 2 gold legs. The perplexing thing is that this is not a painting, nor is it from some kind of promotional event where a different costume might have been used. The picture is just an edited version of this behind-the-scenes picture from A New Hope. In the unedited set photo, C-3PO has the silver leg. So somehow 2 versions of the same photo exist, one with a silver leg and one without. Now, to be fair, the one on the box set is obviously heavily edited. It's been cropped and doctored in a way that it fits onto the box artwork seamlessly. The contrast is much higher, and the photos are slightly different. In the box set one, C-3PO is actually closer to R2 so that his arm is covering R2's head. It is undeniable, however, that these photos were taken in tandem. The position of his entire body is nearly identical, the background is the same, and in both, for whatever reason, the front paneling of R2's body is actually missing color on the horizontal lines on his chest, an anomaly that also appears on an official poster for the film. But I'm just going to chalk it up to editing and high contrast, causing the already reflective material to appear even more gold due to the surroundings. There's actually another and even more recognizable Mandela Effect from Star Wars. Most of you are probably well aware of it. It's the misquoting of the most famous line in the whole series, "No, I am your father." The line is almost always quoted as "Luke, I am your father," rather than "No, I am your father."
No, I am your father.
And this one is so simple to explain. First of all, the line is extremely famous because of who it is said by and who it is said to. When quoting it out of context, like for a joke or a reference, it sounds better to say Luke because that's who it was said to. The line is quoted in so many other pieces of media, on TV shows, cartoons, nightly show skits, etc. In most of these uses of the line, it just fits better to use Luke. Because of the line's quotability and its constant usage in popular films and shows, the average person probably ends up hearing the line quoted far more than they hear the line from the actual movie, as in when they watch it, making the subconscious associate that version of the line as the one they remember. Furthermore, I think part of the reason is also that Darth Vader does say Luke in that scene in other places, and the way he says it is very unique sounding and kind of aggressive, making it all the more easy to blend the memories of the lines together.
Luke. Luke.
Even the actor who voices Darth Vader himself is on record misquoting it. It's just a movie line, and movie lines are always misquoted, especially considering the average person who's not a Star Wars nerd has only ever seen the movie maybe once or twice in their whole life. Besides its appearance in other forms of media, there appears to be one official Lucasfilm product that actually has the line, "Luke, I am your father." It can be found in a Star Wars Darth Vader keepsake ornament that plays audio when a button on it is pressed. The audio sounds like this. This little keepsake toy ornament has become somewhat of a rallying cry for the Mandela Effect community. This recording is undeniable proof that the proper version of the line still exists through residue found in this piece of merchandise. Except when it's quite obvious that this is actually just a mix of the audio from the scene, where it puts one of the two times he says Luke right in front of "I am your father," likely to make the line more pleasant to the ears out of context, like we established earlier. Why they went to the lengths of editing the line for the toy is a mystery to me, even with the reasoning I just stated, but it is what it is. There's also this strange video on YouTube that claims to be a VHS recording from someone in an actual theater in 1980 filming the screen for whatever reason, in which the audience can be heard reacting to the scene. In this video, the audio very clearly clips right at the moment where he says "no" and inserts Luke, obviously taken from the previous line.
He told me to look you. No, Luke. I am your father, Luke. Luke.
The description claims it was found in a Goodwill, and the pinned comment on the video is someone claiming that their father had captured this original tape. The comment says that the "No Luke" is a pure coincidental glitch on the tape. Yeah, sure. Maybe it was a glitch, or maybe it was purposely edited, but it's very obviously a clipping of some kind, whether intentional or not. With both the silver leg thing and the "I am your father" line, people will defend to the death that their version of the memory is true, going as far as to say that it's due to various different releases of the movie, the special editions and so on, none of which alter the color of C-3PO's leg, nor do they ever change the "I am your father" line. It's really just a classic case of people being so unable to admit they're wrong about such a small and trivial thing that they will turn to denying reality, or worse, making up an entire conspiracy in which the whole world is being duped by either some kind of interdimensional overlapping or the purposeful tampering of history by the hands of the elite that all revolves around the color of a fictional robot's right shin and the wording of a dramatic reveal. Allow me to introduce to you the philosophical principle known as Occam's Razor. Occam's Razor is perfect for shaving off all kinds of extraordinary thoughts where they are not logical or necessary. It is defined as such, a scientific and philosophical rule that entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily, which is interpreted as requiring that the simplest of competing theories be preferred to the more complex, or that explanations of unknown phenomena be sought first in terms of known quantities. Basically, keep it simple. If something sounds complex and extreme when there is actually a much simpler and less extraordinary answer, typically it's going to be the simpler one that is true. For example, it is possible that the entire universe was created 5 seconds ago, with all of our memories and thoughts being things that we all just happen to have in our minds at the moment in which it was created. But to believe something like that would require you to do so with literally zero evidence, other than the fact that you thought of it. Occam's Razor allows you to rule out that possibility and go for the more simple and logical idea that denies it. I think the same can go for these examples of the Mandela Effect from Star Wars. What makes more sense? That people didn't notice that C-3PO had a body part that was a different shade of chrome, and that people simply misquote a line from a movie? Or that all of reality as we know it is a sham, and these things have been changed through supernatural means? I think the former is obviously more plausible. I'm not really sure why I made a video about this. Being a Star Wars fan, I come across these types of arguments more than I'd like to, and seeing people begin to create entire conspiratorial worldviews based on details from a movie kind of makes me feel bad for them. I like Star Wars and I like conspiracies, so why not? If you can present evidence to me that there is more to this than we know, go for it. But I think it's pretty clear that C-3PO's right leg was always silver.